Gig has got a history of uh, being around since 2008. We didn't even have a name for it then, but it came about when we realized that the big challenges we face around the world is economic of nature, and it is directly as a result of how people think. And we coined then the world one generation, or the words one generation world versus a 3-generation world. And to start us off, I'd like to just maybe on the slide show you what are the challenges if you are programmed to only think one generation. And the one generation world leads us to lack of resources, resources monopolized, economic slavery, destroyed fragmented families, corruption, poverty and unemployment, high crime rate, and destroyed infrastructures. And this is not just unique to South Africa. If you watch the news, you'll probably find this is the norm now around the world, because people are thinking quick fix, short term. And here in South Africa, we have become so programmed that very few of us can think beyond the next load shedding schedule, and at least not longer than the 29th of May with the next election. But as we speak, there are people living the 3-generation world of abundance, resources unlocked, economic freedom, whole families, stewardship, poverty eradicated, low or no crime in their communities, and having functional and maintained infrastructure. So the question out of this whole presentation is, what world are we passing on to our grandchildren? Because if we don't do something about it, the government and the churches are not going to do anything about it. So the purpose of tonight is then challenge you to say, what can you do about that 3-generational world? And it reminds me of a story of a father coming home from work, feeling tired. He just wanted a cup of coffee and relax and read his newspaper. And his little boy pestered him, 10-year-old, say, "Dad, let's go and play ball." And he keep pestering the dad. And eventually dad realized he needs to keep this young chap busy. Otherwise he won't have time for his relaxation. So he said, "Okay, I'm going to give you a puzzle to complete. And if you finish the puzzle, then we can go and play ball." And the father rummaged through some newspapers and he came across a picture of the world. And he said, "That's it. My boy don't know where's Asia to Africa to India to whatever." And he cut it up into pieces, gave him a plate to put it on and some sellotape. And he said, "All right, when you finish, call me." And he thought, now I bought myself some good time. 15 minutes later, the boy was back, said, "Dad, I'm finished. What now? Can we go and play ball?" And Dad said, how did you do it? This is almost impossible for someone of your age. How do you know where's Africa and India and Europe and all these places? And he said, "No, Dad, was actually quite easy. When you pulled out that picture, I saw at the back of that picture, there was a picture of a man. And I just put the man together and then the world fell into place." And I think that's the essence of this kind of movement, that, before we worry about solving the world's problems, let's solve our family's problems. Let's put the man and woman back together in our own family and become the founding parents, and then the world will fall into place. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm just going to introduce your one-generational present state to your potential future 3-generational state. So see it as two kinds of mirrors. You're familiar with the one mirror, you look into it every night, but I'm going to present to you what you could be looking at in the future if you take up the challenge of becoming the founding parent of your family legacy. And that led us to how GIG started in 2008, when we rediscovered an ancient truth written in Proverbs 13:22 that reads, "A good man leaves an inheritance of moral stability and goodness to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner finds its way eventually into the hands of the righteous, for whom it was laid up." Now, if you read it like that, sounds very churchy. And a lot of preachers use this verse to make it sound like become a Christian, then you can claim the wealth of the sinner. But God revealed to us in 2008, He said, read what stands there. That's not what stands there. And we had to go back to the origins of how the proverb started. And it came about when wise men of old would observe nations and societies, and if they see something that's always true, doesn't matter whether it's a young person doing it, an old person doing it, a Jew or a Greek, but when you do action A consistently, the result will always be result B. That then became a social law, and parents would verbally transfer the knowledge of this law to their children, and that's how proverbs came into being, because those days the people didn't have writing instruments, only the very rich could afford scribes. So when Solomon came to earth, he had his own observations, and God imprinted on his heart to pen these social laws down so that societies can work well in the future. Now, what this verse says is in any time frame, under any economic or political conditions, doesn't matter how messed up the world is out there, but if you can find a man, woman, or couple who dedicate their earthly lives to leave an inheritance that benefits society but will still be there and function during the time of the generation of their grandchildren, then for that family and that family only, the promise is the wealth, the unused resources of the sinner, families who miss the mark, finds its way eventually into the hands of the righteous for whom it was laid up. Now, some of the old members would remember this graph that says another way to unpack that verse is to look at this graph, which is a timeline, and you can expect to become 80 years old, which makes you generation 1. And the vertical is then your wealth, your impact in society, and the impact you've made. But unfortunately for most people, 99% of the population, they will spend their life on the yellow curve, getting born somewhere, looking for getting out of the house, finding a job or career that pay the most, because around about 50, society kicks them out and it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain your standard of living. But the financial sector will say, if you've saved enough, you eat it up slowly enough, it should last you until your dying day. And if you were a really good person, you will have saved up enough so that you can pay for the funeral and leave some money for the kids. And that is the prevailing thinking out there. The sad part is, what does it make us? It makes us a society of make it, eat it. Start all over again. Make it, eat it. Make it, eat it. And you project a family that's a mediocre family, generation after generational, just living from week to week, month to month, and ask themselves, how did we get there? If we draw a line at 80 and we say this is your lifeline or your impact line, we can see that most people at 80 in today's society are forgotten somewhere at the backyard of someone's home and considered a financial burden. So I've just shown you what you can look forward to in your life if you don't make a serious commitment to becoming the founding parent of your family legacy. The good news, however, is if you can wrap your head around that verse in Proverbs 13:22, and I'm going to unpack it slowly, and you can teach yourself how to think, even if it's just for the generation of your children when they are elderly people. And let's say you had your child at 30, and they're also going to live to 80, so you have to think 30 years beyond your death. Now, for that family who can do that, and that's the green line, and how you do it is you train yourself on a daily basis to ask yourself whether you're doing a purchase decision, a relationship decision, a business decision. You ask yourself, how will this benefit the generation of my children when they are elderly people? That's how you think that far into the future. When you do that, you'll make different decisions. You will no longer be worried about what people think and the latest grand watches or clothing or brand clothing or whatever. You will plan for the future and you will study trends and position your and your family ahead of these trends. And when this other family, their economic curve starts to go down, your decision starts to pan out. And that piece of land that you bought uh, maybe 15 years ago, when there was nothing built around it, has now become the next suburb. And people say, wow, you're lucky. But luck has got nothing to do with it. It's study the trends looking forward. And for people like that, at the ripe old age, they are still active members of society, impact society, and might even enter into business contracts days or weeks before their death, not knowing when it's going to happen, but knowing that it's in safe hands with their children. Now, how many such people do you know? And I would guess it's not many. Now, this is not even God's best for society. And he gave us Proverbs 13:2 in the expectation that for every family that commits themselves to this journey, they can go on the purple journey where it doesn't matter how humble they start, but importantly, they take their children with them on this journey. They teach their children the language of generational wealth, that we are stewards, not owners. We are builders, we're not consumers. But study their children, release them in their gifting, but at the same time, build up businesses. And we believe for every family, there's at least 3 businesses. And if your children don't want to do it, put it in the right structures, trust companies, bring people alongside you that can become the succession planning. But you do it not with a view for the children. You do it with a view for the grandchildren. In many cases, those of you listening to me might not have grandchildren yet, but by faith, that's already how far you should think into the future. And then if that is your journey, you will see that it goes up and have more and more wealth and resources and for impacting communities, and you're enjoying every minute of it until it's time for you to uh, go to your new home. And in passing, only then can you look back and people would say that was your peak. And your peak now becomes the next starting point for your next generation, and their peak a starting point for their generation. And for this family, doesn't matter how humble their beginning was, they will now have a story of how we grew from strength to strength. And God showed me, he said, go and study these families in South Africa. And some of the families I studied was the Maponyas, the Oppenheimers, the Rupert, and all of them had very humble beginnings. But today and God said this, they are my blessing to your country. And if you want a better future for your country, the political parties won't do it. You need more such people, because these families know how to build sustainable wealth and in the process employ hundreds and thousands of people from all walks of life. So to get there, it's not going to be easy. It's a commitment, but not to get there, you're already here on the yellow curve. And don't underestimate the gravity force of society, with governments making laws to strip you of capital while you're alive, and finally of capital when you die, with estate duties and taxes, with the financial industry telling you you're too stupid to handle your own money, give it to us. And when you die, you will die, a lot of money will be paid out to the people after you, but during your life you will suffer. And then for the media, which play on our feelings of inferiority and show us what to buy, what to consume, what to wear, so that we don't feel too bad about ourselves. So the only way you escape out of this gravity force is for us in GIG to create a new gravity force of like-minded parents and family. So the key here to move from the 1 generation to the 3 generation is you have a choice. Right now, most people watching this for the first time find themselves in this very gloomy world called survival. They may not even have jobs, so literally just survive hand to mouth and dependent on the mercies of other people. Some people might even have their own money, but they still survive because of the challenges out there in the world. So if you just stay focused on the left side, that's what you can look forward to for the rest of your life. But I'm presenting you tonight a door that will lead you to the 3-generational world of gig, and it will take you on the journey of the 4 S's. Now, the 3-generational journey of the individual family, and again, it's a choice. People can choose to stay in the 1-generational world of economic pain and lack and survival, which most people, for reasons I don't know, do. But there's a door that if you go through it, we can take you on a journey where you will definitely arrive on the other side as the founding parent of a 3-generational family. Now, to help us tonight, I've created some symbols. So with people, there's the individual, that's the family, that's business, that's community. And you'll see that's the symbols we use. And then we have resources built up over the last 15 years of a full-fledged cooperative bank. I'm not going into the detail tonight. You can speak to your legacy coach about it. And Gig Wealth, a financial services company specializing in financial assets and wealth creation. We have coaches. We'll talk more about the coaching program. We've got legacy coaches, wealth coaches, business coaches. And a new concept that we bring to the table is a national resource center where we can even help communities on their 3-generational journey. So this journey starts as you go through this door is the rude awakening of, wow, I've been duped by the programming all my life. I didn't know it, but I'm actually operating from struggle. And struggle is defined as income minus expenses still gives you a minus. Doesn't matter how big the income is. And the mood of these people is when it happened month after month is one of feeling hopeless. What's the odds? And with youth now finishing school and have no hope for jobs because of the mismanagement of our current government, you can almost not blame them for feeling so hopeless that they want to start destroying things. So our job for a better society is not to keep people there, but to solve the equation, and we do it with our full support of the bank, of Gig Wealth, of the coaches, of the National Resource Center, and we will be able to show you ways to increase income and lower expenses. So for individuals and families to move on this journey from struggle to stability to success to significance, the support we're going to give you is the following. There's some courses, and your legacy coaches can give you the links on how to get there, but we'll teach you generational goal setting. We'll teach you generational budgeting. So take you 60 years beyond your death, looking back, show you that even with little monies, you can still benefit and become the founding parent. And how we solve the problem of income minus expenses is we up the income by introducing you to the Legacy Coach program. We teach you how to build a B quadrant business. So if you're familiar with the Kiyosaki model of on the left side where people just sell their time, self-employed and employee. But the ideal is to get into becoming a business owner where you multiply time and money so that you also can become an investor. And that's exactly what our program does. Help people that while you're an employee, self-employed, become a business owner and an investor. And then we decrease expenses for those who need to. We have specialists that can help on the debt side, show you how to save on monthly consumables and how to save on things like insurance. And you do that through your own legacy coach. Every person who joins gets his own legacy coach, and linked to that legacy coach is a wealth coach. So that in a nutshell is the support we can give people during the struggle phase. Then that moves you to stability. Stability is where you've solved the equation. Income less expenses is now a surplus. You have hope. It's a strong energy. But we have to make sure that you stay focused on your journey and don't get sucked back in to spend that little surplus that you have. And the way you do it is to focus on success, where you have choices. And we define success as having 3 or more sustainable and growing income streams. And still, to help you on this journey, you have the full benefit of all the banking products, the Gig Wealth, with all the support we give you, with the help of your coaches and the National Resource Center. So, a glimpse of the future for people who go on this journey. As individuals and family, the journey we can take them on is, for instance, we've got a product, the Loan Link Share. It's an interest-free loan product for members of the Gig Bank, where on their journey from struggle to stability to success to significance, we give them a chance that after a 12 months of contributing interest-free money into the pool, at the end of 12 months, they can draw against that pool up to 3 times. First of all, to pay off high interest debt, then to use the interest-free money to invest in income-producing projects, and we've got quite a few exciting ones there. Use the interest-free money to buy stock, machinery, or business acquisitions as you start your business. And ultimately, on the significant side, is to collaborate on mega or community projects, but with interest-free money. So that's a powerful tool available for our members. Then for businesses, we can also give them, together with families and individuals, access to our Gig Investor Club. And the Investor Club is a key driver on every member's generational journey. So a person who's in struggle, who doesn't have money, we encourage them to start putting some money aside, and when he's still got less than 10,000, that money can't buy big things, but as a group, lots of little monies can buy big things. And we have a crowd investment project through Gig Investor Club, where you can already invest in a mixture of cattle, bridging finance, and in time to come, we have other opportunities. And there's another exciting one just now where you can get 13.75% per annum on your money that helps to consolidate debt. So we are in the process there with a very great company. Then as you grow your account past 10,000 to 100,000, the same opportunities are still available to you. So one fund right now gives people every 6 months, your money is tied up for 6 months, then you get it back. And people on average get 7% growth per 6 months period, which is the same as 14% per annum in the current investment. But here we call you an individual investor, because if you got 100,000 available to invest, the banks recognize your strength, and they will even take that 100,000 and give you $1 million to buy a flat or a house or whatever it is. Then once you're over 100,000 but not yet $1 million, we now say you're financially free, you have residual income, you're a sophisticated investor, you can take risk, you understand how to assess risk, and more opportunities will be available to you. But for now, I'm just showing you the normal ones. And then ultimately, we want to get people to become their own family office when they have more than $1 million available. Then we can sit down with them as the financial institute, and we can give them a professional team of business professionals, accountants, legal people to look after their money, get above market interest growth on their money, so that they are free to pursue their philanthropic endeavors. So that just gives you a glimpse of the future. For communities, we've got something very exciting coming up. It's a new thing that we've recently started because of the availability of the National Resource Center. And for any community out there, we can now help and set them up, structure them correctly so that they can pull in funding from local government, business, donor funding, venture capital funding, and they can then in their own hands, under their own hands, deploy the funds for employment creation, infrastructure, sustainable development, and businesses. And on the back end, without going into the detail, we've got a comprehensive resource center, including the bank, the national, our financial services, donor funding, and we collaborate with many other entities. So just to keep it there. Now you've moved past success, and the last journey is then significance. And significance is when your life has meaning. You are known as the community champion, and you use your skills, your networks to help other people like you've been helped. And that, in a nutshell, is then the journey for any person or family who wants to move through the door to the journey of the 4 S's. So how do you move through the door? Well, your starting point is become a free member, and I'll show you the website just now. And as a free member, you will have access to online training and communication. You give us your email address and cell phone number, and we can start working with you. Then we have the choice of a classic member. That's 70 Rand per month, giving you access to bank membership, your own legacy and wealth coach, training support online and live, and access to our full program from the bank to Geek Wealth to the coaches to the National Resource Center. And or you can just get there, you can choose the Wealth Builder. It's like classic, but it just adds funeral cover to the portfolio, and the funeral cover consists of, for including in that rate, 30,000 payout for principal, member, and spouse, children 14 to 21 years, 20, and then it goes down. And then you can also add extended family members like uncle, aunt, mother, father. They are limited to a 10,000 payout. Depending on their age, it's then an extra premium per person that you want to bring on your cover. So that's the choice then. So the next step is to go and visit us at geek-institute.com. And when you get there, you'll find our new website. It looks like this. And you pick on the button that you are interested in. Start with a free membership and see what is behind that. It will show you the video. It'll take you through some of the initial courses. But then we can connect with you. And if you're then happy with what you see, click on the paid membership. You'll see some testimonials, tools, self-assessment, training platform, and so forth. Lots of things there to do. So the next step is choose the correct membership option for you and get started. So if you look for further info on individual or family, speak to the legacy coach who invited you for the presentation tonight. They'll be able to assist you. If you need help on business and or community issues, you can speak to myself at jasper@geektrust.co.za at that number, or info@geekwealth.com. And that brings us to the end, or is it the beginning? Thank you.